Alphabet Inc. is strategically positioned at a critical juncture, navigating the tension between its established dominance in digital advertising and its aggressive pivot toward generative artificial intelligence, AI, and cloud infrastructure. The company's financial health remains robust, allowing for unprecedented capital deployment necessary to secure long-term technological leadership. Alphabet operates as a technology conglomerate and holding company, formed in 2015 to house Google Services, Google Cloud, and other bets. Its current strategic focus involves defending the core advertising business while accelerating the growth of its cloud segment. The company achieved a significant operational milestone in Q3 2025, recording its first-ever $100 billion quarter. Consolidated revenues reached $102.3 billion, representing a substantial 16% increase year-over-year, YOY. This financial performance was underpinned by strong growth across all major segments, including search, YouTube, and cloud. Earnings per share, EPS, demonstrated exceptional leverage, surging 35% year-over-year to $2.87, significantly beating consensus estimates. Financially, the balance sheet exhibits exceptional strength, with cash, cash equivalents, and marketable securities totaling $98.5 billion as of September 30, 2025. This liquidity supports a radical acceleration in capital expenditure, CapEx. Management now forecasts 2025 CapEx to range between $91 billion and $93 billion, primarily allocated to building the AI infrastructure required to meet surging customer demand and solidify the technological advantage. The company's primary revenue anchor remains the Google Services segment, which generated $87.1 billion in Q3 2025 revenue. However, the key growth engine is the Google Cloud segment, which increased revenues by 34% to $15.2 billion during the same period. Cloud growth is specifically driven by enterprise adoption and robust demand for generative AI solutions, with products built on models like Gemini seeing revenue growth of more than 200% year-over-year. The central strategic challenge facing Alphabet is the dichotomy between maintaining technological supremacy through massive investment and navigating escalating regulatory costs. Success requires not only aggressive deployment of AI capabilities but also sustained legal resilience. The Q3 2025 results were notably impacted by a $3.5 billion charge related to a European Commission (EC) fine, clearly demonstrating the material financial risk associated with global antitrust enforcement. Based on the Q3 2025 financial performance summary, Alphabet reported consolidated revenue of $102.3 billion and significant net income. Google Cloud revenue reached $15.2 billion, with AI product revenue growing over 200%. The company holds $98.5 billion in cash, cash equivalents, and marketable securities with a FY 2025 CapEx forecast between $91 billion and $93 billion. Google was initially created in 1996 by founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin. The company's initial public offering, IPO, on August 19, 2004, marked a pivotal moment, providing the financial foundation for its subsequent global expansion with an IPO price of $85 per share. Since going public, the company has undergone significant adjustments to its capital structure, including major stock splits in April 2014 and July 2022, which have historically reflected sustained shareholder value generation and market maturity. The company's growth strategy has relied heavily on acquiring complementary technologies to solidify its market position, diversify its portfolio, and establish competitive barriers. These acquisitions have secured essential internet gateways and data flows for the core business. The acquisition of Android in 2005 secured a vital foothold in the rapidly growing mobile operating system (OS) market. This move guaranteed Google Services default placement across billions of mobile devices, securing continuous user data and funneling traffic to its core search product. The purchase of YouTube in 2006 established immediate dominance in the video search and streaming sector. YouTube evolved into the world's largest video search engine, creating a massive digital advertising channel that generated an estimated $10.261 billion in Q3 2025 alone. Strategically, YouTube acts as a critical bulwark against rivals like Meta, preventing younger tech companies from usurping Google's advertising leadership as consumption shifts from desktop to mobile and video formats. More recently, the acquisition of DeepMind in 2014 was a key strategic commitment to AI research, transforming the company into an AI powerhouse and providing the intellectual property now essential for its generative AI products. In 2015, Google leadership gave formal notice of intentions to restructure, resulting in the creation of Alphabet Inc. as a technology conglomerate and holding company. This organizational architecture separated the company's businesses into three major segments: Google Services, Google Cloud, and Other Bets. The rationale behind the restructuring was multifaceted, primarily driven by the founder's strategic goal of continuous technological innovation across high-potential sectors like healthcare, transportation, and AI. Key objectives included innovation and speed, allowing emerging stage businesses, Other Bets like Waymo, Calico Life Sciences, to operate semi-autonomously, maintaining the agility of a startup while benefiting from the resources of a mature corporation. Financial transparency was another goal, clearly separating the highly profitable core revenue streams, Google Services/Cloud, from the speculative ventures, Other Bets, thereby improving clarity for investors. Finally, antitrust mitigation was a factor, proactively demonstrating structural segmentation and diversification to address growing regulatory concerns. The efficacy of this M&A strategy and the subsequent restructuring was tested during the 2024 U.S. antitrust ruling. While the court ruled that Google is a monopolist and imposed behavioral remedies, such as banning certain exclusive search default deals, it declined to mandate structural remedies, such as divesting key assets like the Chrome browser or the Android mobile operating system. This outcome indicates that the deeply integrated ecosystem created by these core acquisitions generates complexity that is generally resistant to traditional antitrust breakups. The Alphabet structure, by segmenting the business and providing clear financial reporting for the regulated search core and the emerging businesses, acts as an effective preemptive defense against the most punitive structural remedies, validating the strategic decisions made over the last decade. The strategic rationale for Alphabet restructuring and key acquisitions highlights three major milestones: the 2015 Alphabet restructuring to separate core and speculative businesses, the 2005 Android acquisition to secure the mobile OS market, and the 2006 YouTube acquisition to dominate video search and streaming. Sundar Pichai serves as the Chief Executive Officer for both Alphabet and Google. His leadership approach is frequently described as servant leadership, characterized by emotional intelligence, mentorship, and a quiet, unassuming demeanor that achieves influence through moral authority rather than positional power. Pichai has been pivotal in fostering the environment necessary for the company's current focus on AI. The broader executive team reflects a necessary emphasis on navigating global financial, regulatory, and legal landscapes. Key figures include Ruth Porat, President and Chief Investment Officer, and Kent Walker, President, Global Affairs and Chief Legal Officer. Management philosophy, stemming from earlier executives like former CFO Patrick Pichette, advocates for sustaining a startup culture even at massive scale, focusing on crushing bureaucracy and leveraging acquisitions as an accelerator for growth. This decentralized, high-velocity approach is crucial for maintaining competitive speed in the technology sector. Alphabet's organizational culture is a strategic asset, reinforcing its position in digital advertising and online technology. The culture places a high premium on innovation and creativity, motivating employees to think outside the box, take calculated risks, and view failure as a necessary stepping stone toward learning and improvement. This emphasis on intellectual stimulation creates the structural conditions necessary for breakthrough thinking. Servant leadership and empathy are defining traits of the current administration. Pichai's mentorship mindset emphasizes team success and recognition, fostering a culture of inclusivity and collaboration. This focus on emotional intelligence is not merely a soft skill, but a competitive advantage in an industry often focused solely on technical brilliance. The advocacy for diversity and inclusivity ensures that products and solutions are derived from teams reflecting a wide array of perspectives, which is essential for global market success. The company's stated corporate commitments are centered on protecting users and promoting economic opportunity globally. The enacted philosophy is rooted in creating useful, accessible products while maintaining ethical standards, particularly as it expands into highly regulated and sensitive sectors through its other bet subsidiaries. The company's ability to execute massive cross-functional initiatives, such as the rapid global rollout of major AI features like AI overviews and AI mode in search, is a direct function of its organizational health. This product velocity demonstrates that the management philosophy of minimizing bureaucratic drag and promoting a high-growth startup mentality remains scalable and effective, even with revenues exceeding $100 billion per quarter. This operational efficiency is fundamental to capitalizing on the ongoing AI infrastructure race. Governments and regulatory bodies, particularly in the European Union, EU, and the United States, US, are increasing their cooperation and alignment in enforcing antitrust laws against dominant digital platforms. This political trend significantly amplifies the legal risk exposure and increases the complexity of developing consistent global business practices. Political demands for data localization, coupled with varying national security concerns and content regulation requirements across different jurisdictions, necessitate significant investment in localized data infrastructure and complex operational planning, particularly in sensitive global markets. Political momentum is building around the implementation of digital service taxes, DSTS, and debates concerning a global minimum corporate tax. These measures directly challenge the historically efficient international fiscal strategies employed by large multinational technology companies, threatening profitability projections. Alphabet's primary financial vulnerability stems from its core revenue dependency on the global digital advertising market, which totaled $74.182 billion in Q3 2025. Advertising revenues are highly cyclical and susceptible to rapid contraction during global economic downturns, posing a risk to quarterly growth stability. The ambitious CapEx forecast for 2025, $91 billion to $93 billion, exposes the company to global inflationary pressures, particularly regarding the supply chain for specialized and advanced hardware components such as AI chips and cooling systems required for new data centers. While the company is cash-rich, the prevailing interest rate environment impacts the cost of capital for its enterprise customers, which can influence demand for Google Cloud services. Furthermore, fluctuations in interest rates affect the valuation and potential returns on its vast holdings of non-marketable equity securities, which contributed a net gain of $12.8 billion to other income in Q3 2025. Public skepticism and regulatory activism concerning the massive collection and usage of personal data are escalating. This external pressure compels the company to proactively invest in privacy engineering and shift its product approach, e.g., within Chrome and Android, to sustain user trust and comply with evolving standards. Socio-cultural trends favoring alternative media consumption, such as increased reliance on social media platforms, streaming video, and specialized vertical platforms, require constant adaptation of the core Google services offerings to remain the primary gateway to information. The deployment of powerful generative AI tools, including Gemini, introduces significant socio-cultural scrutiny regarding algorithmic bias, potential for misinformation, and the broader societal implications of automation and job displacement. Maintaining public confidence is essential for widespread long-term adoption of AI-driven products. The company is fully engaged in a technological arms race, pursuing a full-stack approach to AI. This mandates massive investment in foundational research, Gemini and proprietary hardware, TPUS, and data center capacity, defining its current competitive technological priority. Google Cloud Platform, GCP, is leveraging its specialized technological expertise, leading to accelerated adoption in generative AI solutions. The segment reported revenue growth exceeding 200% for AI products, with 9 of the top 10 AI labs currently utilizing Google Cloud. This technological specialization provides a critical differentiation point against competitors. Strategic, continuous development of the core ecosystem, including the Android OS, Chrome browser, and integrated apps, Maps, Gmail, ensures the company maintains control over the primary technological gateways through which global users interact with the Internet, thereby guaranteeing a stable source of data and ad-serving opportunities. The most significant internal environmental conflict stems from the fact that energy consumption required by data centers hosting energy-intensive AI functions is currently outpacing the company's ability to bring new clean energy projects online. This divergence poses a direct threat to the credibility of its sustainability commitments. Alphabet maintains an ambitious goal to reach net zero emissions across all operations and the value chain by 2030, supported by the specific objective of running on 24/7 carbon-free energy, CFE, on every grid where it operates. Achieving this goal requires complex, large-scale, and potentially high-risk clean energy investments, including plans for small modular nuclear reactors by 2030. The company is leveraging its core AI technology to generate external environmental benefits. Products such as fuel-efficient routing and maps have enabled the reduction of over 2.9 million metric tons of GHG emissions since late 2021, and the Greenlight AI tool optimizes traffic lights to potentially achieve up to a 10% reduction in emissions at intersections. The 2024 U.S. District Court ruling confirmed Alphabet's monopolistic status in search and mandated a series of behavioral remedies. While structural changes like divestiture of core assets were avoided, these ongoing behavioral constraints, such as banning certain exclusive default placement deals, place permanent legal limitations on how the company can conduct business development and partnerships. The substantial $3.5 billion charge recorded in Q3 2025, related to an EC fine, underscores the material financial risk posed by European antitrust regulation. EU regulators specifically target perceived conflicts of interest arising from platform dominance, indicating a persistent source of legal exposure. Existing antitrust and competition policies were largely developed for the relatively static industrial age and are poorly equipped to handle the rapid dynamics of the AI era. The company operates in a continuous state of regulatory uncertainty regarding how its AI-driven products, like AI overviews, will be assessed under existing and forthcoming competition laws. This analysis assesses the competitive structure and attractiveness of the technology and digital advertising industries in which Alphabet Incorporated operates using the Porter's Five Forces framework. The threat of new entrants is constrained by immense capital and resource requirements necessary to compete with Alphabet's scale. The commitment to a CapEx of $91 billion to $93 billion in 2025 highlights the necessary investment in global data centers, advanced infrastructure, and AI research that few, if any, startups can match. However, entry remains possible in highly specialized digital verticals, such as specialized AI applications or niche commerce platforms. Since the core business is digital, targeted innovation can disrupt specific market segments, necessitating a moderate overall intensity rating. Alphabet Inc. benefits from its enormous scale, purchasing power, and aggressive vertical integration efforts. By investing in in-house chip design, TPUS, and managing the construction and operation of its global data centers, the company minimizes its reliance on external suppliers for critical technology components. While suppliers of highly specialized components retain some leverage, Alphabet's status as a necessary anchor customer ensures that overall supplier power remains low. The bargaining power of buyers or end users is weak due to the fragmented nature of the global user base and the deep integration of Google services into daily life, search, Gmail, Maps. Although customer switching costs are low, Users can easily migrate to competing platforms. The free accessibility and ubiquitous utility of Google's core products provide negligible leverage to individual users over pricing or service features. For advertisers, while competition exists, Alphabet's platforms offer unmatched reach and targeting capability, creating a dependency that limits their ability to negotiate substantial concessions on advertising rates. The threat of substitution is growing, primarily driven by technological and behavioral shifts. Substitutes include specialized AI models, vertical search platforms, and shifts in media consumption. Alphabet is actively mitigating this threat through product innovation, most notably by integrating features like AI overviews and AI mode directly into its core search product, aiming to capture the utility of substitution within its own ecosystem. Competitive rivalry is intense across all major business segments: search, cloud, advertising, hardware. Alphabet faces massive, well-capitalized, and technologically sophisticated competitors, including Microsoft, Azure OpenAI, Amazon AWS e-commerce, Apple iOS hardware, and Meta Platforms social media advertising. The intensity of this rivalry is amplified by two key factors: the large number and diversity of firms operating across overlapping technology sectors, and the low switching costs for customers, which enable competitors to aggressively contest market share. This strong competitive environment directly mandates the continuous high level of technological investment seen in the company's current CapEx strategy. The Porter's Five Forces analysis summary rates rivalry among existing competitors as strong. The bargaining power of buyers and the bargaining power of suppliers are both rated as weak. The threat of substitute products and the threat of new entrants are both classified as moderate. The period spanning Q4 2024 through Q3 2025 has been defined by rapid acceleration in AI deployment, coupled with significant legal and environmental pressures. The most notable financial development was the company achieving its first $100 billion quarter, reaching $102.3 billion in consolidated revenue. Operationally, the shift toward a full-stack AI platform is evident in the Google Cloud sector, which grew 34% and reported a substantial backlog of $155 billion. This demonstrates successful enterprise monetization of the AI pivot. However, this success was tempered by significant external costs, notably the $3.5 billion charge recorded in Q3 2025 related to the European Commission fine, highlighting the material impact of regulatory pressures on the bottom line. Alphabet has prioritized speed in product delivery. The company successfully completed the global rollout of high-profile features, including AI overviews and AI mode in search, in what CEO Sundar Pichai described as record time. Further, the company released its most advanced offering, Gemini 3, in November 2025. These models are being rapidly adopted by enterprise customers, with reports indicating they process 7 billion tokens per minute via direct API use. Crucially, the financial commitment to this strategy is unparalleled. The significant upward revision of the 2025 CapEx forecast to $91 billion to $93 billion signals an explicit intent to win the AI infrastructure arms race. This spending is not merely to maintain existing systems but to expand AI capacity dramatically, ensuring the company secures necessary processing power for both internal foundational models and external cloud customer demand. The company continues to adjust to the legal constraints imposed by regulatory bodies. Following the U.S. monopoly finding in 2024, the company has implemented court-mandated behavioral requirements concerning search default deals. By avoiding the structural remedies, divestment of core products sought by the Department of Justice, the company maintains the integrity of its core product ecosystem. Simultaneously, the strategic push for AI infrastructure capacity has created a material conflict with its long-term environmental goals. Investor scrutiny has intensified due to the finding that the energy consumption of AI data centers is currently outpacing the company's ability to bring new clean energy projects online. This divergence, which threatens the goal of achieving net zero emissions and 24/7 CFE by 2030, has led to heightened shareholder activism, demanding additional disclosures, contingency planning, and stress tests regarding the execution of its climate strategies. Alphabet Inc. is strategically leveraging its substantial financial liquidity and entrenched market position to transition into an AI-first era. The massive capital expenditure commitment, $91 billion to $93 billion in 2025, serves as both a defensive and offensive measure, creating a structural barrier to entry in the rapidly evolving cloud and AI sectors. By scaling its infrastructure aggressively, the company ensures that while regulatory forces constrain its behavioral latitude in the legacy search market, it solidifies its structural dominance in the future, high-growth technological markets. The success of the AI pivot, exemplified by the over 200% revenue growth in generative AI products and the rapid deployment of Gemini, is fundamentally dependent on maintaining the company's culture of high-speed innovation and low bureaucracy. However, this velocity introduces significant external pressures, chiefly the recurring financial costs of global antitrust litigation and the critical environmental contradiction of expanding AI power consumption. The analysis concludes that Alphabet Inc. is well capitalized and technologically positioned to lead the next generation of computing. The key challenge for executive leadership remains balancing the demands of technological expansion with effective legal compliance and sustainable environmental stewardship, ensuring that the company's structural defenses hold against regulatory headwinds while maintaining its growth trajectory.